From the durian to the black diamond watermelon, here are the rarest fruits in the world. Let's get started! Imagine that you are spending your vacations in Thailand. You want to get on a bus to visit a region. But before putting your foot on the first step, an image near the door of the bus suddenly calls out to you. You look closer and discover to your great surprise that it is the image of a fruit. On the bus, your neighbor tells you that this fruit is none other than the durian, a fruit that can be found on the shelves in Southeast Asia. But unlike other fruits, the ripe durian is especially known for its strong smell that can become nauseating. This explains why it is forbidden in public transport, hotels, and public places, for example, although Asians love it. It is also said that this fruit, which can weigh up to 7 kilograms and is nicknamed the king of fruits, is known for a number of virtues that it possesses. However, it should be consumed in moderation because of its high sulfur content. The durian can cause fatal overdoses, especially in people who suffer from high blood pressure. As for its taste, well, it reminds of onion, cheese, and almonds, among others. All this information is very interesting, even if you feel a little sorry that you can't take this fruit home in your travel bag. What a shame. However, once you arrive at your destination, you rush to buy a beautiful durian from a merchant to finally smell it and taste its yellow and creamy flesh. And that's it. This is a very special culinary memory that will remain forever engraved in your memory. Are you a big lover of citrus fruits, especially exotic ones? Then you'd probably like to try lemon caviar. Well, this name arouses your curiosity, but when you look up the name on the internet, you discover that it's not a lemon and caviar that have been mixed together, as you may have initially thought, but the fruit of a thorny shrub that grows in eastern Australia. Your subsequent research on the web to learn more about this amazing oblong citrus fruit reveals that it is a lemon containing several small translucent beads that are reminiscent of caviar, hence the name. These beads are also crunchy and tangy, which immediately makes your mouth water and makes you look for the price to find out how much a lemon caviar costs. But you cry out in surprise when you discover that this rare citrus fruit, which is highly priced nowadays by top chefs, can cost several €100 per kilo. That's right, that's what makes it a very precious fruit. However, you are reassured to know that you will always have the opportunity to taste it if you go to a restaurant, for example, because you can very well find some balls of this fruit on your oysters or your fish or in your fruit salad. Wonderful, isn't it? Not only do you have a new smile on your face, but you feel very happy to have expanded your knowledge of exotic and citrus fruits. Some time ago, while you were traveling in Asia, you decided on a whim to go to a fruit and vegetable market to discover some new species that do not exist here. But what was your surprise when you found an apple in a fruit shop that was not yellow or red but black? Curious and fascinated at the same time, you did not hesitate to ask the merchant if this apple was an ordinary fruit or not. He told you that it was a black Tibetan apple, also called black diamond, and it comes from a mountainous region. You also discovered that this rare fruit, which is not actually black but a dark purple, owes its color to the abundant ultraviolet rays it receives during the day and the temperature fluctuations at night, which darken the color of its skin. However, when the vendor cut the apple in half, you saw the pulp of the fruit was white. You were a little disappointed because you thought the fruit was black, even on the inside. But your disappointment disappeared the moment you bit into the apple because you were pleasantly surprised by its very sweet and honeyed taste. Wow, that makes you a very lucky person to have seen and tasted this very rare apple. People who travel to Southeast Asia, Hawaii, or the Pacific Islands, for example, often tend to want to taste the local and very diverse fruits of those regions. However, they may discover some very oddly shaped specimens, such as the hala, for example. At first glance, this huge fruit looks like it comes from another planet, doesn't it? None of us could tell if it is a brightly colored cauliflower or a very large artichoke because of its size and the many segments that make it up. Because of the unusual shape of this fruit, tourists often take advantage of their trip to buy a hala. This is how they can discover what this rare fruit with its delicate and sweet flesh tastes like. But for this, especially if they want to taste the heart of the fruit, they must try to remove the segments whose green edges are very fibrous, which is not easy. However, they can do it with a hammer and with a little patience. They will eventually reach the core and finally taste it. It is no wonder that those who had the chance to taste the hala still keep its taste on their palate. You know that fruits and vegetables are good for your health and rich in vitamins, and like most of us, you always want to eat them in order to protect and better preserve your health, right? But a few days ago you heard about the guaje, a palm tree that grows in the Amazon regions of Brazil and Peru and in Colombia, and whose fruit is very rich in vitamins A and C and many other nutrients. This information intrigued you a bit. However, you decided to do some research on this fruit with its scaly skin and yellow pulp. That's how you discovered that the guaje fruit is actually a fruit like no other. In fact, it is very rich in vitamin A and contains much more than carrots or spinach, which makes it important for children and pregnant women. It is also considered by many to be a natural vegetable source with a high concentration of vitamin A, perhaps the highest in the world. The guaje fruit is also very beneficial for women, as it acts on female hormones, and its oil is said to be very good for the skin. All this information about this miracle fruit made you want to eat it, but at the same time it made you a little sorry to know that this fruit does not exist everywhere, but only in certain regions. What a shame not to be able to taste it! Fortunately, you will always be able to find and eat it if one day you go to one of the countries where guaje grows. But you must admit that since you discovered this unique fruit, you haven't stopped talking about it. Let's go to Jamaica. Have you ever heard of ackee? A tropical fruit that is widely consumed in this country, and want to know what it looks like? Here it is! You had no idea what this fruit with the orange, yellow or red skin looks like, did you? But instead of standing still and looking at the picture of the fruit, you read the article underneath. Then you discover that this fruit is not only eaten as is, but it is also an essential ingredient in Jamaican cuisine. That's right! Even though it can lose its sweetness once ripe, the ackee is used in cooking and is a perfect accompaniment to cod. On the other hand, you will also learn that the ackee is not a safe fruit because its parts are not all edible and can be poisonous. In fact, if not eaten properly, ackee can be responsible for a well-known disease in Jamaica. The Jamaican vomiting disease is a disease that causes vomiting and hypoglycemia that can sometimes be fatal. What a disturbing piece of information! Just when you were thinking of trying this fruit one day, suddenly you are scared. Fortunately, not for long, because as you continue reading the article, you learn that you should not only avoid the toxic parts, but also the green or overripe fruit. And then, to consume ackee without getting sick, it must be fresh and harvested at full maturity, once it has opened naturally. But also it must be prepared properly, so that you can eat it without any risk. And that's it. Nothing to worry about in the end. When we think of Jamaica, we often think of reggae and Bob Marley, but since the day you discovered the ackee, you can't think of Jamaica without thinking of this fruit. You love watermelons, and you love to eat this fresh fruit, especially when the weather is hot. That's hardly surprising. However, you will be surprised to learn that there is a variety of watermelon that is quite different from other fruits with green or striped skin. It is the black diamond watermelon, a watermelon that its name suggests is characterized by its black skin. Admittedly, we don't see it in our shelves, but when you learn that this red, juicy and sweet fruit can be grown in your garden if the sun is shining and the soil is suitable for growing watermelon, you rush to get the seeds to grow this fruit. And you ended up with your first black diamond watermelon. But it took a lot of patience because the black diamond watermelon does not grow very fast. It takes an average of 90 days for this huge watermelon to be ripe and ready to be eaten. However, you forgot this long wait when you bit into the first piece, since then you can get enough of it in the summer. Fruit lovers, especially exotic and rare fruits, are always on the lookout for tasty and incredible specimens. But recently, these people were surprised to discover this oddly shaped fruit. Check it out. Like you and me, these people were amazed by this fruit, whose name is milk melon, and which would come from Vietnam, according to some sources on the internet. What did these people do then? They rushed to the online shopping sites to order the seeds in order to grow this fruit at home. After placing the order and having paid a considerable amount of money, they finally got the seeds. However, they regretted their purchase because the fruit they got was nothing like the famous Vietnamese milk melon. Not only had they spent their money for nothing, but they were disappointed to learn that they had been tricked by scammers into believing that the seeds would yield this so-called fruit. The scammers had used this image, which is actually a work of art by a Vietnamese artist, to fool people into making a lot of money. Well, the victims of this scam could still enjoy another fruit instead. Nevertheless, it taught them not to trust the images of so-called extraordinary or unusual fruits that circulate a lot on the internet. You have just discovered some of the rarest fruits in the world. Tell me, have you ever seen or tasted one of these fruits? Which one? Do you know of other rare fruits that are not on this list? Leave your answers in the comments. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video.